Welcome back. The City of Gold has attracted a new kind of mining in recent decades as demonstrations continue on the West Rand in Gauteng, with community members blaming the so-called zamas for criminality. Experts say illegal mining is out of control. Let's talk about how we got to this point and what the repercussions are. We're joined by Mining Affected Communities United in Action. That's the National Coordinator, Meshack Mbangula. Also, Professor of Environment and Sustainability Law at Wits University, Professor Tracy-Lynn Field. Professor, let me start with you. You've written that there are systemic reasons that artisanal mining has become a threat to peace and security. Firstly, confirm artisanal mining, presumably the illegal mining done by individuals or groups not linked to mining houses, and then tell me why it's such a threat.
Thank you, Francis. So artisanal mining is mining that uses rudimentary tools, low technology, normally hand tools, and it has become a systemic threat for two reasons. The first is that the illegal gold artisanal industry hasn't been nipped in the bud, and it's been going on for decades. And secondly, a policy framework for artisanal mining as a livelihood strategy hasn't been put in place either. So those are the two key systemic reasons.
And why such a threat? I mean, you talk about some of the incidents. We've been hearing tonight from community members that they're saying they have to pay protection fees to some of these illegal miners just so that they're not targeted in criminal events. That's a racket.
So yes, there's been research, there's syndicates, there are 5 tiers in the hierarchy, and the miners that have been arrested now are really just on the bottom rung. Nobody knows for sure how many there are. The numbers being mooted around are about 30,000. And so they're at the bottom rung. There are the security, the second tier, and then the buyers that buy it, and then it goes internationally. So it's a whole syndicate. It's extremely well organized. We mustn't think that this is some, disorganized, chaotic activity.
Mr. Mbangula, can you comment? And I understand your organization is quite passionate about formalizing artisanal mining, giving these people opportunities. We heard yesterday that some of them are desperate former miners who've simply been out of work. Just tell me how you understand the situation, and do your sympathies lie with the communities affected by what's going on, or the miners themselves trying to make a living?
Thank you. Firstly, when we look at the mining, the mining sector is the problem, because they came in, do the mining, but did not rehabilitate. Secondly, when they closed down the mines, they didn't give the skills for workers to be able to be engaged with other sectors. They just left them like that. So the problem is the mining, not rehabilitating. Secondly, we try to engage with DMR by then, to say, let's make sure that we formalize the zamas. I don't want to call it illegal miners, the zamas, so that they can be able to, be monitored and be able to pay tax, and we know who's in there, who's working there. That's 10 years back. And unfortunately, that fell into deaf ears. The reason that we are looking at that, because the mining sector, it's a very big mine. It takes a lot of people for work. And if you look at the unemployment rate in South Africa, if then 10 years back would have engaged and formalized this sector, would have taken a lot of people to this thing. But as the more people are getting unemployed, and they see that there is a place where they can get employed, they all go there, and that is not able to be monitored by DMRE and the government, and it became a serious problem, because now everyone is going there. But if we were taken seriously to formalize this, we would have been in a better position to increase employment, to avoid these hideouts, and be able to engage the mines again to do rehabilitation.
Professor, is formalization a possible answer? Presumably then you could weed out anybody involved in crime because they wouldn't get any sort of license to operate in future.
I agree with Meshack. I think that it is time to make this as the framework for a livelihood strategy. How you do that, whether you do that through intricate legal regulations or support for the sector. So financial support, the only support that these zama miners are getting are from the syndicates. So you need to cut that off and provide proper support for them to pursue this as a livelihood strategy.
In 2014, the Human Rights Commission conducted a probe. So this has been a problem for years. Professor, tell us about that. What did they find? What has happened since then?
So yes, the Human Rights Commission did conduct a hearing, and they also called for a framework to formalize the sector. They noted the illegality that was already taking root, but they said that not all of these zamas are criminals. So yes, I think that the message has been out there for quite a while, but we've only had the artisanal and small-scale mining strategy. Policy has only been finalized this year in March, end of March.
Mr. Mbangula, what percentage of the zamas would you say are involved in other crimes?
Well, I would say about the number is more than 50,000 because you go all over where there's gold mining, Free State, and in Northern Cape it's diamond, and obviously in Gauteng, West Rand, East Rand, we've got a lot of these people out there doing that. Almost about 30% of the people are doing zamas. So it's a very important sector that needs to be looked at and worked out. Like the professor said, the policy is only looking at the big scale and small scale, but we should be engaging the very same zamas to say what type of permit or policies that can look at this sector and cover it, not just bring in what is done by a consultant, but we need to talk to these people and then know what can we come up with a policy that will cover this sector and make sure it's safe and it's monitored and people can be, legalized and work on those sector.
So tens of thousands involved in actual mining. But my question was, how many do you believe are involved in other crimes where the communities say they are being terrorized? How many are involved in criminality beyond illegal mining?
Yeah, you see, in fact, there are quite a lot of thugs in each and every sector that is there, in all the places that we live in. For instance, the very same zamas, they are themselves are being targeted by the very same thugs. As soon as they come out with minerals, they get caught and they took all these things. So criminals are all over. And obviously, now they will look at the places this is a good hideout. We can go out into the township and do wrong things and come back. It's difficult for them. So it's quite a lot of people who look at this opportunity, and it's difficult really to tell who's legal, who is not illegal, because they are all sitting there and nobody is monitoring. But if we did exactly that with the Department of Mineral Resources, we will know who's not supposed to be there, who's supposed to be there. But unfortunately, it went out of hand because they didn't want to significantly engage us to do the right process of legalizing, monitoring the zamas.
All right, Professor, let me end with you. A lot of talk about crime intelligence. I don't know if that's your area, but it does look like police are being very reactive now because the community is up in arms. Suddenly there are all these arrests. Or have there been attempts to try and weed this out? We know that it's difficult because there's a network of underground shafts. People can live down there for months. But what have you been seeing over the years?
So my understanding is that the government has taken some steps to understand the syndicates, and that's what they need to break. It's not the bottom rung that you need to tackle. It's the gangs that are controlling these miners, and then above that, the buyers of the gold. So I see that is where the intervention needs to take place. And this needs to be a transnational operation, looking where that gold is going. The research is telling us it's going to the United Arab Emirates and to Switzerland. So we need to bust those companies. because they are providing the market.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Professor Tracy-Lynn Field from Wits, and that was Meshack Mbangula from the organisation Mining Affected Communities United in Action.